Okay, so general things. When it comes to coaching in Rocket League, mechanics are always going to come with time. I can't do anything to really fix mechanics. That's going to be a you thing. That's on you to practice. So I can't really get mad when you mess up mechanics. That's just simply got to put more practice into master mechanics. What I can tell you about is positioning mistakes, decision-making errors, stuff like that. And that's stuff that you can take note of and start picking up, start developing the habits so you're making the right decisions in game consistently. So that's mainly the kind of stuff I'm looking for. This is just you and me, no music needed. Okay, let me kick it back in just to make sure. You'll also notice I rewind a lot. That's just my style. I like to soak in information. So right off the bat, I think you need to recognize that you do have a little bit of time. Maybe it's a little panky as you see LW Grace over there on the side is approaching, but you still have time to take a touch and then get another touch after that. Depends on how well you trap it to begin with. If you're going to bang it, it just has to be better than this because this isn't going to go too far. It's just going to lob up. It's not going to go downfield at all. It just has to be a slightly better executed bang, ideally across the field. Also looks like maybe you hesitate a little bit on the kickoff. Maybe you weren't ready. I don't know. So in a scenario like this, you could easily let it land and then you bang it this direction downfield where your teammate may catch on and then take that space towards it. If you're banging it this way, you're kind of leaving it up to yourself to be the one to get it next. But most likely your opponents are going to get to that. Diamond 2, by the way, noted. So again, you can see your hit was basically you're leaving it up to yourself. Opponents are just a little quicker to that one because closer, it's heading towards them. You hit it away from yourself, so you have to catch up. Rotation there's not bad. It just happens the ball goes your way. I kind of like that you go back post here. The second you see this over your head, just kind of loop around. There's no point in turning towards the ball. You could have even just snagged that corner boost and gone up here and played backboard just in case. And then if you can let Pascal go and just jump down into the net here, or you could just continue to drive all the way around. Something like that. Because by turning, you're taking yourself out of the play. Like, I understand that the ball got hit your way, but you're zero boost. You're not going to be able to turn on this very easily. But we can watch it through from your POV. Like, you can kind of, like, you can feel the awkwardness here, I'd imagine. Like, you're already, like, chasing the ball. Especially at this point, like at this point, especially, like if you were going to make that turn just in case, by this point, definitely just get out and flip across the field. Like you already have your out. You have your out to get out of this space, out of the play, let Pasca make a step here. You don't need to turn back in. Turning back in just confuses Pasca. Like we can keep kind of visualize where you might be. Like you might be about here. Depending on how fast, you would have already been back post. Anor probably would have ended up cutting you there still, but that's fine. It just would have been a little more natural rather than getting kind of stuck in the corner where you're kind of useless. So I know you got low boost here. Something you have to take note of is your teammate is behind you. So your goal should probably be grab these two pads and then take this space over here. Because you kind of want to be efficient with your time. So you might as well take those pads while you're over here, but then start going this way. You're an option if the ball makes it here. The second things start going poorly is when you turn out this way. You're playing a second man that you don't necessarily need to be playing. And the only reason why your other teammate is so far back... Oh, I don't actually know. He must have really wanted boost. Don't be like this guy. Definitely be just grabbing pads, stick with the play. There's a lot of space that we're dealing with here that to be taken. You guys are playing very linear, basically, is what I'm getting at. Whereas you could have had the other guy on the ball. You were center for him. Of course, these are randos, so you can't really do much about that. But that guy should have been the one tucking into this space while you were playing second. But you might as well do your job right and just hope that the rest aligns. the end of the day, you don't want to be practicing bad habits. I think right here especially, you have an ore playing that second man position that I was kind of re-describing earlier. You don't need a flip anymore. Like you can just cruise into this space. 'Cause you are playing third here and you're getting a lot closer than you probably need to because it kind of feels like you're trying to become a second man. But Unor is in that second man spot. Just kind of chill here. It's okay to slow down a little bit from time to time. You got about 47 boost. You should be able to make a play on the ball, even if you come to a dead stop. Probably would have picked up a pad, possibly two, depending on how far you went to stretch. But then you could have done something here, whether it is take a shot or pop it up to backboard. Would have been more productive than getting too close and then feeling awkward, not being able to contest here. Get a piece, but it's just off to the side. I guess it's just a recovery thing. You used up all your boost right then and there, and that's okay. But then you flip this way, whereas you probably should have just flipped this way. Try to get on these boost lanes as soon as you possibly can. You don't need to be taking yourself towards the ball anymore. So instead of going that way, just go this way. Maybe try to aim for these pads back here. Because you want to be as... Look, you even correct yourself. You knew that you were supposed to be over here. You just took an extra step. You made a triangle out of what could have just been this straight path from here to there. So that shows me you're aware of it. You were aware that you needed to go over. Or maybe you just wanted to boost. I don't know. Yeah, your teammate screwed you there. I can tell. Kind of faked you. You were in a position to catch it too. It's just unfortunate. You gotta deal with it. In a situation here, don't be afraid to just fake the hit here and just let him hit it because he's not scoring off of anything here. You can literally just dummy like you're gonna hit it and then swerve to the right and just let him hit it off the corner wall. Then you get next hit. It'll probably be free for you at that point. Instead, if you hit it off the wall, now it's kind of a 50-50 ball and it looks like obviously they're closer, so it's basically blue possession now. You guys are all on top of each other, mainly because of this situation here. Playing that situation where you do hit it, I don't know. I guess maybe it's fine that you go. Just something more confident has to happen. Like maybe just at least jump for a challenge here at that point. I don't know. It just feels like there was no initiative from anyone to do anything about this. Like Unor fake challenges, you're kind of just... Maybe you thought Unor was going to do something more. I have no clue, to be honest. But just looking at how awkward the situation is, really what you should do, especially at this point, is when you want to get back to net here. You had a little bit of a hesitation here. I don't know what that was about. It had that guy gotten a shot off and you were hesitating out here, it's just a free goal because I don't know if Pasca gets there either. You definitely have the time to get to net to at least attempt to save there. So you're cutting your teammate here at this point. Had you just rotated, you would have been next to go. But I think because you waited, you should have just tucked behind your teammate. Because you waited, you need to just chill, let your teammate go next. That's definitely a blatant cut at this point. However, if you had just rotated properly earlier and gotten to net, that scenario, it would have been yours and you would have been fine. And you would have been approaching from a good angle. The awkward recovery. Nothing wrong with not getting the ball here. You're forcing. Definitely, instead of flipping, trying to get this boost, just aim to get the guy instead. You could kill, bump, / get the boost all at the same time. He might get the boost first, but if you kill him, it doesn't really matter, does it? Don't worry about the boost as much as you are here. I know that's why you flip. You thought you could edge it out. Bit of lag, not much you can do about that. It's pretty bad lag. I forgot that replays capture the lag so vividly. there's some hesitation here. I think at this point, there's no need to be like pausing or anything. So you know Unor's getting behind you right now. He just flipped behind you. You should have already been turning this way. And now you would have challenged that ball, or you would have fake challenged or something here. Yeah, so right when you land the flip, you started turning towards the ball and then you turned away for some reason. You should have just stuck with being towards the ball. Your teammate's behind you. If they were to bang it, flick it over your head, your teammate will be behind you covering. At least they should be. So that hesitation is just giving them more space. You do get a challenge, but it's just a 50. One back. You guys do get possession off of it. That's fine. In a situation like this, you very well just could turn right here and become second. And if your teammate's competent, he'll see and notice and be aware of that, and everything will work out fine. I'd say don't be too afraid to insert your dominance as second man. I know that's something that I personally have struggled with a lot, but once you start getting more confident in certain your positioning as second man here, will get a little bit better. You're playing very passive, going all the way back. It's fine. You guys kind of create this linear effect again because of it. Whereas you could have been chilling right around here this whole time, and the second that bounces back, when you kind of gotta make decisions if you want to turn around, that's the safest bet. Is you turn out on the left just to re-rotate around, and if something positive happens again, you right back into play. That wasn't necessarily the most positive thing that could have happened in that scenario, though. Would have been closer to the enemy than it is to you. Playing what you're seeing again. I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, if you're going to go back, you just kind of have to play patient. So I think you might have to have a little faith in your teammate here. Like, you did see him go back to that corner. The second it gets hit into that near post corner is when I think you should turn out the other way, just to put space between you and the play again so you can see hitting on the back post again. So let's try to time it like where you probably would have been. So they hit the ball there. That's when you're awkward. They bang it. Probably going about this speed. So now they would have hit it. It would have been debatable if you would have ever gotten up to that in time. Let's go back to your PV. You probably would have been in a better spot to contest it than this. Definitely looked like you were stretching for it. It's not the best touch from your teammate either, though. But you kind of got to work with it. Let's kick it back again. So you guys are all like getting on this near post. I think Pasca going here is fine, but Unor should have recognized that and kind of chilled in net for a little bit. Once you land, you shouldn't be turning towards the ball here. Once you land it, you should have just turned this way again. Because if something positive happens, you can chase it down. If something negative happens, you just turn this way, and it's going to be you're going to give yourself better chances had you turned to the right than you do from the left. Now you're putting all three of you guys in one corner. He shouldn't be here either. He should be like chilling somewhere in the net, depending on how his momentum carried him and how much time has passed since he arrived at back post, stuff like that. But you could have turned out here, and you could have been that second target man, actually. You would have been the target player. So if the ball had gotten anywhere over them, you would have been the one flipping onto it because you would have been quicker than even if Pasca hit it himself over him. And you would have been rotating back in this scenario. Could have even waited and just played it to the corner for safety, but it looks like there was no one there. So now I should go back to your POV and play your scenario again. Let's see. Maybe you were a little scared if there was a player here. I can't really fully blame you for it because you definitely like flipped before you knew that guy was back there. I think my advice here is you don't have to hit this ball necessarily. I would drive up on the right side of it and just get up behind the ball, try to scope the field. Once you get behind it, your ball cam's going to show you the corner. You can see what the opponent's doing, and then you can adjust your play based off what you're actually seeing. You're kind of just assuming that he's going to tackle you here, but he isn't really. He's kind of going all the way to his backboard. You definitely could have played this differently, especially with how little boost you had. There's just not much you can do from the wall. I know your intentions are to bang it mid, but you're going to kill all your momentum here, and then all you're going to have is that 10 to 12 boost, and then a flip to do the best you can. It's likely not going to make it very far. But you could have just been slower with it, gone up on the right side of it, and then just kind of watch. You can just let it roll right back down to the ground again, and then just play 50s. Like, that's never the worst thing in the world. Like, you just take 50s. It's honestly the safest thing you can do when you're low in boost. Because by doing this, you're not only taking yourself out of the play, but you're baiting in your teammate too. Because your teammate's, oh, I'm going to have a free pass here. It's going to be an easy shot. Both your teammates win, so that's putting you in a worse spot. There's a couple pads you missed here. Just, I guess, it's kind of its own skill, to be honest, picking up pads. So you just gotta get used to where those are actually placed. It's not the worst thing in the world to hit it, especially when you got no boost. I think that's fine. Teammate scores off of that. Granted, at higher levels, this is a left goes kind of thing, so I don't know what the text chat was looking like. I think, like, obviously there was a lot of hesitation here, but your main mistake was turning towards the play here. You know that there's two players that could potentially drive towards this right now. Now, granted, it's kind of hard to see from this far, but you have to kind of assume the worst, that they are going to be able to play the ball towards your net. So your mistake here was turning downfield. You're not even really facing the ball. You're facing their post, like, across the field from you. You could have kept facing across the net. This would have probably been easier to reach in time. You probably wouldn't have even had to worry about the bounce. So you could have made your life a little bit easier had you just expected worst case scenario for a little bit longer. Instead, you kind of had to make a read on the wall, but you also had the player from the other team jumping at you. You kind of assume that he's going to hit it, but he doesn't, so now everyone misses. That was a good touch out from your teammate to play that towards you. Once you land, though, you don't need to use any of this boost. And you don't necessarily need to rush back to net yet. I would have just hung out here for just a little bit. You could have picked up that pad, and you probably would have had plenty of time to react. And maybe you would have even scored off of it. The main reason why I say you don't got to rush back is you do have two teammates. You got Or coming from the back post, too. So, assuming El Pasca doesn't get the greatest touch, and let's just say it plops down in a dangerous spot, you should have another player ready to clean it up. Yeah, Dan's saying outlet in chat, I believe. Yep, outlet in chat, and that's exactly what I'm basically saying. You can just give it a second. You got two teammates behind you. I know it's hard to trust teammates sometimes. I have a hard time doing it too. You could have just sat here. You could have turned to the right, gotten that pad, and you would have been in a better spot. Honestly, that guy bumping you recovered your positioning that you should have had from before. Okay. I like that you're waiting. You're just letting him play it off the wall. It almost worked out in the end, so I can't be mad at that. Teammate almost had it. I think that's kind of a panic flick. I think this just comes down to mechanics, to be honest. I think in an ideal world, you would have just let that cradle off the left side of your car and then taken it to the corner, but you didn't catch it properly, so it's more on top of your car, so you can't really turn with it. I think that's ideal case. I think that was just a mechanical thing. Once you did flick it and it was getting too far off the wall, I don't think you were going to be able to get back to it. I guess it's hard to tell, so I can't really be mad about that. Yeah, the second he hits that ball, you need to be turning off to the right. So just a little bit more quicker on that turn. Because you're second here. The second he hit that would have been a goal for sure. Yeah, you would have scored that 100%. That was so slow going across to the other guy. The second he hits that ball, I need you turning to the right. You got your other teammate behind. He's rotating from the near post, but that's good enough. He'll be there for sure if something bad were to happen. The second that ball is hit, especially right about now, is when you need to be turning right. So you took a little too much space that you didn't necessarily need. Maybe you felt you need that boost, but you could have turned and grabbed 2 to 3 pads and you would have been basically near 80. Okay, so weird pinch all the way to the corner. I think rather than slowing your car down and adjusting to this angle, you could have just kept your speed and been turning that whole time with it. And then you could have been approaching from this backside rather than stop and then try to predict and let the ball come to you first and challenge it. You could have just held on to your speed and just gradually turned your car and then had gotten it goal side behind it. And that would have made, I think, the hit easier. But you also would have had speed the whole time, so you don't have to waste any extra boost by stopping and then using more. Hopefully that makes sense. Because you're also forcing, like, when you stop there, you have to wait for the ball to come to you rather than you come to the ball. So it's killing time, basically, and it's giving them time to intercept it. I don't think you need a flip at all. Get more comfortable, like, just cruising the field. You don't need to flip everywhere. You can just stay grounded, drive, use your boost when needed. Only flip when, like, you absolutely know. You never know how far that bang could go, and you could have easily just landed in a spot to where that was going to soar over your head. I'd say that's pretty decent. That's just going to roll in. I mean, I probably would have ended up doing the same thing, but that's not to say that this is the smart thing. In an ideal world, you're either blasting this hard to the backboard or you're taking a light touch trying to get control. Or you're doing some crazy solo play. If you wait for this ball to get up the wall and you hit the underside of it from down here once it gets up to here, then you can start a solo play. I guess that's basically my advice here. You could easily wait for this to get to a more advantageous spot on the wall for you to take control of it. This is a little rushed. That's probably what it is. You could have let it roll and then you can hit the underside and go for an air dribble or, I don't know, something crazy. Whatever you want to do with it. You gotta whip out mechanics every once in a while. So it looks like you guys got punished off of it. Because your hit basically is a throwaway of possession. So they took control pretty quickly. So like flips like this right here, I've noticed you do this quite a bit. This is just like a barrel roll flick or flip. This isn't really getting you speed or anywhere any quicker. So it's kind of a pointless flip. If you're going to be flipping, definitely try to make it, I don't know, productive by going forward with a diagonal or front flip. If you start learning speed flips, definitely diagonal flip cancel speed flips, that kind of stuff. It's just going to get you across the field quicker. A barrel roll isn't going to give you any speed boost. In fact, it might have even been slower than if you just drove there. Let me rewind it again. I got to see how you got here again. I don't know. It's an awkward spot. I don't know where your teammate is. Teammate's getting there. Let's see when the last time you saw that guy. So that's the last time you saw your teammate. I would just say sometimes you got to take a chance on your teammates here. And you did see your teammate go by. If I'm just counting the seconds that went by in my head till this point, you easily could have just turned out and left the play. And your teammate, if he sees, and he should see and recognize that you're going behind him, then he'll take the initiative to go, because this is going to be 100 times easier for him to contest than it is for you. And then you would have placed yourself on back post, so if your teammate didn't get it, certainly by now you would have been back post, and that would have been your ball. Teammate's not moving right now. Maybe at a controller DC. He may have stopped moving when I was basically saying that he would have been there for you on that high ball, but in an ideal world where he doesn't lose his controller, that's true. Looks like he may have been lagging a little bit there. The second he hits this ball off the wall is when you need to turn here a little bit to the left, just to start cutting down that distance. You're waiting for that bounce basically before you're committing to this turn. It's just going to make you slower. Like, that was a foot race at that point. I think you could have completely beat that guy pure speed, no problem, had you been anticipating that bounce and where the ball was going. So now that guy's not moving. So interesting. You don't have to jump here. I'm just going to point it out. You could just let it bounce off your car. You could just get under it and let it bounce, or you could get under it and then pop it on the other side and try to doink it. You don't necessarily need to hit it back into the corner there. Just kind of got sliced and diced. So I think in a situation like this, it's definitely your turn to go, and I think your teammate is recognizing that. He's not really looking yet. By now, he definitely committed for the boost, so you would have been okay challenging. Your goal here is just to force something. You're not really forcing anything. You're taking too long to get going. And then you hit your brakes, so you already killed the momentum that you started to build once you spawned. You don't need to win the ball, you just need to make him throw the ball away. Even if it is a pass across, but hopefully you can do something to affect the play in some way to make it easier on your teammate. Even if they still have possession in the end, hopefully it's in a spot where it's going to be more difficult to do something with. Again, I think you need to be forcing here. You are, that's good. Exactly what you need to do. Looks like that was just lag. I was going to say it looks like you're hesitating, but literally it was just so laggy. Now, a situation like this is interesting because both you and your teammate are both in spots to contest this. I think it was fine that you went. Especially when you're like looking at his POV as well. My only piece of advice would be you could possibly wait for the bounce. Then you have options here. You could wait for the bounce, blast it towards net. You could try to slam it off the backboard and then try to get bumps. You end up shooting it really low because you don't necessarily wait for that bounce, which is fine. You don't always have to wait for the bounce, but definitely if you wait for the bounce, you're going to be able to bang it backboard a little bit. Yeah, that's basically just free cleanup for them. If you don't feel like you can shoot it on frame, backboard being free is always a good thing because it's going to make them awkward instantly, especially in diamond ranks. Dan says, use your camera to look for your teammates at all times. If you know where they are at all times, should reduce your double commits, even if it's your ball to go for. And I would agree with that. I wouldn't necessarily say that you were the one double committing with your teammates this match, at least not too much or too badly. There was that one moment where all three of you guys were driving into the corner, which was not great. But definitely get in the habit. Like that's how you start to get good at stuff like that. You just need to force yourself and maybe even start in casual, pushing your right analog stick around, or however you do it on PC. I don't know if you're on controller or keyboard mouse, but once you start building that habit, then you'll just start naturally doing it. It's a good thing to get used to. Looks like the game just ends here, though. You're on controller, so just get used to right stick movement and flicking your ball cam, car cam on and off. So I guess that's it. Was it helpful at all? You can give me a review. 1 to 5 stars. Let me know.